Hello, good afternoon. Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes.
We're going to start. Okay. Buenas tardes. I would like to inform that these sessions will be conducted in English, the official language for this kind of matters. However, consider the significant participations of Spanish. We're going to make immediate translations in order to assure clear, inclusive, effective communication among all the participants. Okay? I'm going to start with the translations. Nos gostaria de informá-los que esta sessão desenvolverá em inglês como língua oficial de trabalho, no obstante, teniendo en cuenta la significativa participación de sociedades españolas, se proporcionará traducción en español con fin de garantizar una comunicación clara, inclusiva y eficaz entre todos los participantes. Allow to present myself. I'm Filipe Pinheiro, City Councillor of Barcelos Municipality, responsible for health. Permita-me apresentar. Soy Filipe Pinheiro, concejal de Ayuntamiento de Barcelos, responsável para a área de saúde. Good afternoon, all the cities and partners. On behalf of the Municipality of Barcelos, it's my pleasure to welcome you to the second general meeting of European Mental Health Cities Network. As promoter city and world capital of mental health, Barcelos is honored to convene these sessions. We do it with a strong sense of public responsibility and with deep respect for the work of each city is already delivering for the wish communities. This meeting follows the formal constitutions of network during the World Congress of the World Federation for Mental Health in last October. Today, our shared task is to strengthen functional governance, to confirm official representations to ensure democratic legitimacy, and to agree on the clear and predictable procedures that will allow the network to deliver results in 2026. Before we begin, just two briefing practical notes. First, to support an orderly and smooth meetings, please keep your microphone muted unless you are speaking. If you wish to intervene, please use the raise hand functions and write in the chat. Second, for clarity and mutual recognition, we kindly ask each city to rename their screen names using the name of the city they represent. Example, Barcelona, Athens, Sevilla, wherever. This will help everyone else identify speakers and will also facilitate the voting process should vote by requirements. Third, for the purpose of internal minutes and institutional continuity, this meeting is being recorded in the line with our standard practice. Participation, therefore, implies consent. If any participant has a specified concern, please contact us privately through the chat so we can address it appropriately. We will conduct today the work in full alignment with our chart of principles, memorandum of understanding, and rules of procedure. Our common ground is clear: mental health policies rooted in human rights, guided by scientific evidence, and implemented through practical collaboration between municipalities. Allow me to briefly present Barcelos' political and technical coordination after this. In Spanish, buenas tardes a todos las ciudades y entidades participantes. En nombre del municipio de Barcelos, es un placer darles las buenas-vindas a la segunda reunión general de la Red Europea de Ciudades de Salud Mental. Como ciudad promotora y capital mundial de la salud mental, Barcelos tiene el honor de convocar esta sesión. Lo hacemos con alto sentido de responsabilidad pública y con profundo respeto por el trabajo de cada ciudad que realiza en sus comunidades. Esta reunión se celebra tras la constitución formal de la red durante el Congreso Mundial que se ha hecho en octubre pasado. Hoy nuestra tarea compartida es reforzar la gobernanza funcional, confirmar las representaciones oficiales y asegurar legitimidad democrática y acordar procedimientos claros y predecibles que permitan obtener resultados no próximo año. Unas breves notas antes de empezar. Buenas tardes a todas las ciudades y a todas las personas. En primer lugar, facilitar una reunión, para facilitar una reunión ordenada y fluida, mantengo el micrófono silenciado, salvo cuando intervengo. Si desean intervenir, utilicen la función levantar la mano en el chat. En segundo lugar, para favorecer la claridad y el reconocimiento mutuo, rogamos que cada ciudad modifique su nombre en la pantalla utilizando el nombre de la ciudad que representa, por ejemplo, Barcelona, Atenas, Sevilla y otros. Esto facilitará la identificación de las intervenientes y, en caso necesario, el proceso de votación. En tercer lugar, con fines de alerta interna y continuidad institucional, esta reunión será grabada conforme nuestra práctica habitual. La participación implica, por tanto, el consentimiento correspondiente. Si alguna persona o entidad tiene alguna preocupación específica, puede comunicárselo de forma privada a través del chat para poder atender adecuadamente. Desarrollamos este trabajo de hoy en pleno alinhamento con la Carta de Principios y Memorando de Entendimiento y las reglas de procedimiento. El terreno común es, claro, políticas de salud mental basadas en derechos humanos, guiadas por evidencia científica y aplicadas mediante colaboración práctica entre municipios. ¿Estamos claros? Todo bien. Ok. Allow me to brief present. Allow me to brief present Barcelos' political and technical coordination structure as previously communicated. Permíteme presentar brevemente la estructura de coordinación política y técnica de Barcelos, tal como ya ha sido comunicada. Ahora, Political Coordination lo voy a hacer por mí, Felipe Piñero, y por mi Senior Advisor, doctora Mafalda Figueiredo. Technical Coordination. The technical coordination will be done by Dr. Miguel Durães, coordinator of World Capital of Mental Health. Coordinación técnica. Dr. Miguel Durães, coordinador de la Capital Mundial de la Salud Mental, que está aquí a mi derecha. Technical Coordination. Dr. Manuel Alves, Chief of Staff for Mental Health Chief of Staff for Health of the municipality, Dr. Manuel Alves. Dr. Manuel Alves, Jefe de Gabinete de la Saúde. We will also include additional technical support, including a dedicated office with experience in European funding programs. Contamos además com apoio técnico adicional, incluindo perfil de experiência em programas de financiamento. Já temos assinados para fazer a apresentação.
Chamaram a uma e eu tenho que comprar.
Não é? We're going to keep going. Now we will proceed with the presentation of the cities. Ahora procedemos à apresentação das cidades presentes. This step is more than procedural. It's a sign of institutional commitment. It ensures that every city voices is properly represented and that today's decisions are legitimated and transparent. I will call each city. Please state your end, your rule, and whether you are the political or technical representative. Agora procedemos à apresentação das cidades presentes. Este passo é mais que um trâmite, é um sinal de compromisso institucional, garantiza que a voz de cada cidade esteja devidamente representada e que as decisões de hoje sejam legitimadas e transparentes. Voy a llamar cada ciudad, indíquelo, por favor, lo nombre, el cargo y si son representantes políticos o técnicos. ¿Ok? Barcelona. ¿Está presente?
Hola.
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 ¿Hacer tu presentación?
Vale, yo soy Lidia Metller, soy la jefa del Departamento de Salud Mental del Ayuntamiento de Barcelona y junto con María Gracia, que es técnica del Departamento de Salud Mental del Ayuntamiento, somos las representantes técnicas. La representante política es Marta Villanueva, que es la concejala de salud del Ayuntamiento, que hoy no nos puede acompañar.
Ok. Gracias. Braga. ¿Está presente? ¿Está presente, Braga?
Yes, hello. My name is Miguel. Are you listening me?
Yes.
My name is Miguel Caldas. I'm the head of the health division here in the municipality of Braga. Our consular now is in Barcelos. She's in the taking office of the new governing bodies of IPCA. She's arriving, so when she came, I tell you, okay?
Okay, thank you. Ceuta is present.
Sí, presente. Yo soy Basilio García, de Asociación Salud Mental Ceuta, que voy a hacer un poco de coordinador. La representante política será la consejera de Sanidad y Servicios Sociales, doña Nabila Bencina Pavón, que se encuentra en estos momentos en el pleno de la Asamblea aprobando los presupuestos anuales. Tenemos también la figura de la doctora doña Cleopatra Recaina Liezzi, que a la espera de un perfil técnico con cierto conocimiento en temas europeos será provisionalmente nuestro apoyo también. Cabe decir que la política municipal en salud mental en Ceuta, dadas las características específicas de nuestra Carta de Autonomía, se desarrollan a través de nuestra asociación con un convenio.
Ok, gracias. Thank you, Ceuta. Meneses? Hola, Meneses.
No sé, la apresento. No sé.
Okay, I will call next. Okay, again. Sevilla, are you present? ¿Está presente?
Hola, buenos días. Mi nombre
Buenos días.
es... Buenos días, buenas tardes ya.
Buenas tardes.
Buenas tardes. Mi nombre es Rosa María Siberio Pérez, soy perfil político, la directora general de los servicios sociales del Ayuntamiento de Sevilla. Como perfil técnico nos acompañará, aunque no en esta sesión de hoy, Natividad Jiménez, que es la jefa del Departamento de los Servicios Sociales Especializados y dentro tiene la técnica de discapacidad.
Ok, gracias, José. Zaragoza, are you present?
Sí, Mi
Sí.
nombre es Yolanda Mañas, yo soy la jefa de servicios sociales especializados del Ayuntamiento de Zaragoza. Por lo tanto, mi perfil es técnico. La responsable política es María Norós, que es la consejera de Políticas Sociales del Ayuntamiento, que hoy no está presente en la reunión. Gracias.
Ok, gracias, Yolanda. ¿Mieres? ¿Mieres?
Hola, buenos días. Disculpen porque
Hola.
tengo la cámara estropeada. Yo soy Teresa Iglesias y soy la representante política. Soy vicealcaldesa y concejala de Derechos Sociales del Ayuntamiento de Mieres. Y también nos acompaña el técnico de salud, que bueno, puede presentarse él, si les parece.
Buenos días, yo soy Jesús López, soy el técnico de salud del Ayuntamiento de Mieres y soy psicólogo de formación y soy el perfil técnico que va a acompañar la candidatura de Mieres en el municipio para la red europea.
Ok, gracias, María y Jesús. Thank you, María and Jesús. ¿Murcia?
Sí, buenas tardes. Soy Pilar Torres, concejal de Bienestar Social, Familia y Salud del Ayuntamiento de Murcia. Y bueno, también me acompaña Begoña Patiño, que me gustaría que ahora os saludara, que es la directora del área. Es un perfil más técnico, pero es la directora del área de salud pública. Tenemos en marcha la primera estrategia municipal de salud mental y muy contentos de estar adheridos a esta red europea. Buenas tardes y gracias.
Gracias, Pilar. Gracias, Murcia. Thank you, Pilar and Murcia. Fuenlabrada. Labrada. Es eso. ¿Presente?
Yo no me encuentro.
Llamo después, al final. Okay. Atenas?
Hello everyone. Can you hear me?
Hello. Yes,
Okay.
Atenas.
Good afternoon from the city of Athens. I'm Vespina Limniotaki. I'm the political representative of our group. I'm a municipal councillor responsible for public health and municipal clinics in the city of Athens. I'm also a social psychologist, and we have high in our agenda all the projects and programs regarding mental health. Our technical representative is Mr. George Stefas, who is not here with me right now, but who is responsible for the European projects in the municipality of Athens. So we're going to work closer together regarding our next steps in the network. Thank you.
Thank you, Dispone. Thank you, Atenas. Avilés?
Sí, ¿se me escucha? Buenos días
Sí.
a todos y a todas. Soy Ana Suárez Guerra, soy la concejala de Personas Mayores y Ciudad Saludable del Ayuntamiento de Avilés. Por lo tanto, soy representante con perfil político en la reunión. No puede estar conmigo la representante con perfil técnico, que al igual que mis compañeros de Mieres, es de perfil psicóloga. Se llama Paula Battiori y bueno, está ahora mismo en otra cuestión y no ha podido acudir. Y lo mismo que el resto de compañeras, encantada de pertenecer a la red.
Ok. Thank you, Avilés. Gracias. Thank you. There's anybody that I didn't call. ¿Está alguien que no le ha llamado?
Bueno, estamos aquí de entidades, no de ciudades.
Ah, sí, yo estoy hablando en ciudades.
María ya informó que no se fue.
Okay. Keep going. Okay, thank you. the official representatives are confirmed. This will serve as the basis for the quorum and for the election process. Gracias, quedan confirmados los representantes oficiales. Esto servirá de base para el quórum y para el proceso electoral. Now we move to the central governance item, the elections of the Executive Secretariat for the period of 2025-2027 mandate. I now give the floor to Dr. Miguel Durães to conduct the meeting proceedings. Dr. Miguel Durães, one moment. Ahora pasamos al punto central de gobernanza, la elección del secretariado ejecutivo para el mandato 2025-2027. A continuación, cedo la palabra a Dr. Miguel Durães. Dr. Miguel.
Thank you, Mr. Counselor. Hello, hola, buenas tardes. Hello, good afternoon. Thank you, Mr. Counselor, for your opening remarks and for the continued political commitment and institutional support extended to this network. As this is only the second formal meeting of the European Mental Health Cities Network since its establishment, allow me very briefly to recall 3 brief points to ensure a smooth and respectful session. First, meeting conduct. Please keep interventions concise and focus on the agenda. And if you wish to speak, raise your hand and I will ensure balanced participation, of course. Second, recording. This meeting is being recorded for internal minutes and institutional continuity. Participation implies consent under our standard practice, like Mr. Counselor said in the beginning. And third, we will ask you politely to rename in your screen name using the name of the city you represent. For example, Ceuta, Barcelona, Atenas, Seville, Mieres, etc. This will help everyone easily identify speakers and will also facilitate the voting process if should have a vote be required. So, en español, si dado que esta es apenas la segunda reunión formal de la Red Europea de Ciudades para la Salud Mental desde su constitución, permítanme muy brevemente recordar los puntos para garantizar una sesión fluida y respetuosa. En primer lugar, la dinámica de la reunión. Les ruego que las intervenciones sean concisas y estén centradas en el orden del día. Sin desear intervenir, por favor, levanten la mano. Garantiré una participación equilibrada, por supuesto. En segundo lugar, la grabación. Esta reunión está siendo grabada para acta interna de continuidad institucional. En la participación implica consentimiento conforme nuestra práctica habitual, conforme el alcalde ha dicho. En tercero, le voy a reforzar que fines de acta interna, en continuidad institucional, esta reunión precisa que modifiquen sus nombres en pantalla utilizando el nombre de la ciudad que representan. Por ejemplo, Ceuta, Sevilla, Atenas, Barcelona, Mieres, etc. ¿Ok? We are now going to move to our central governance item, the election of the first executive secretariat for the mandate 2025-2027. Our approach today will follow the 3 principles: simplicity, transparency, and consensus building, because legitimacy is strengthened when decisions are broad supported. At any point a city wishes clarification, please raise your hand and I will address it immediately. Pasamos ahora al punto central de gobernanza. La elección del primero secretariado ejecutivo para el mandato 2025-2027. Nuestro enfoque seguirá tres principios: simplicidad, transparencia y búsqueda de consenso, porque la legitimidad se refuerza cuando las decisiones cuentan con amplio apoyo. Si en algún momento alguna ciudad necesita aclaración, por favor levanta la mano y abordaremos de inmediato. And before we moving the remaining seats, allow me to briefly recall the process followed so far regarding the Executive Secretariat. Following the formal constitution of the network in Barcelos, several cities explicitly invited and encouraged the city of Barcelos to assume a role in the Executive Secretariat for the first mandate in order to ensure stability, institutional memory, and continuity. In line with that discussion and in the spirit of transparency, we communicated by email to all cities members, founders, our availability to take up one of the three seats in the Executive Secretariat for 2025-2027 mandate, unless any objections were raised till today's meeting. As no objection has been made received to the date, I will therefore propose, unless there are any last explicit objections at this point, that Barcelos be considered elected by consensus to Executive Secretariat in its capacity as promoter city, and may I therefore ask purely for the record is there any objection to confirming Barcelos as a member of the Executive Secretariat. Antes de pasar a las plazas restantes, permítame recordar brevemente el proceso seguido hasta ahora en relación con el secretariado ejecutivo. Tras la constitución formal de la red en Barcelos, varias ciudades invitaron y animaron expresamente a la ciudad de Barcelos a asumir un papel en el secretariado ejecutivo del primer mandato, con el fin de garantizar estabilidad, memoria institucional y continuidad. En coherencia con ese debate y en un ejercicio de transparencia, comunicamos por correo electrónico a todas las ciudades miembros y fundadoras nuestra disponibilidad para ocupar una de las tres plazas del secretariado ejecutivo para el mandato 2025-2027, salvo que se presentaren objeciones antes de la reunión de hoy. Dado que hasta este momento no se ha recibido ninguna objeción, propongo, por tanto, salvo que exista ahora alguna objeción explícita, que Barcelos sea considerada elegida por consenso para el secretariado ejecutivo en su condición de ciudad de promotora. Pregunto únicamente a efectos de acta. ¿Existe alguna objeción a confirmar Barcelos como miembro del secretariado ejecutivo? Okay, thank you. With no objections, Barcelos is now elected with honor to the Executive Secretariat by consensus. Gracias a todos. Al no haber objeciones, Barcelos queda elegida con honor para el Secretariado Ejecutivo por consenso. Sí. And now, before inviting any further candidatures, I would like to clarify the governance model that will apply for this first mandate. In line with our founding documents, we will elect a collegial executive secretariat composed of 3 cities. This approach ensures that the secretariat is fully operational from the outset. The 3 cities will share representation, distribute responsibilities, and collectively ensure continuity. Following the election, the Secretariat will agree by consensus and in writing on a practical division of tasks. This arrangement will then formally be reported to the General Assembly, of course. Antes de invitar a nuevas candidaturas, quisiera aclarar el modelo de gobernanza que se aplicará durante el primer mandato. De conformidad con nuestros documentos fundacionales, se elegirá una Secretaría Ejecutiva colegial, compuesta por tres ciudades. Este enfoque garantiza que la Secretaría sea plenamente operativa desde el inicio. Las tres ciudades completarían la representación, distribuirán las responsabilidades y asegurarán colectivamente la continuidad. Tras la elección, la Secretaría acordará por consenso y por escrito una distribución práctica de las tareas. Dicho acuerdo será posteriormente informado formalmente a la Asamblea General, por supuesto. We now move to the two remaining seats of the Executive Secretariat. I would like to begin by formally acknowledging that thanking the city of Braga, which has already expressed in writing its availability to contribute to the Executive Secretariat during this first mandate. We very much appreciate Braga's readiness to assume this responsibility and its commitment to collective mission of the network. As this is the first mandate of the European Mental Health Cities Network, our clear preference, whenever possible, is to reach decisions by unanimity and consensus, as this strengthens trust, shared ownership, and political legitimacy among all participant cities. The coming 2 years will be dedicated to laying the foundations of this network, building trust, establishing working methods, agreeing our shared priorities, and developing concrete cooperation. This requires time, commitment, and genuine willingness to work collectively for the benefit of all, of course. With this in mind, and starting from the availability already expressed by Braga, I would like now to open the floor and ask, are there any other city or cities presented today that will also be willing to step forward and assume this responsibility as part of the Executive Secretariat for the first mandate? If your city is available, please raise your hand. Okay, we already have one. I think it's Athens. Pasamos ahora, que voy a pasar, I will pass the word after this translation, okay? Después. Pasamos ahora a las dos plazas restantes del Secretariado Ejecutivo. Quisiera comenzar reconociendo, agradeciendo formalmente a la ciudad de Braga, que ha manifestado por escrito su disponibilidad para contribuir al Secretariado Ejecutivo durante este primer mandato. Agradecemos sinceramente la disposición de Braga para asumir esta responsabilidad y su compromiso con la misión colectiva de la red. Dado que se trata del primer mandato de la red de ciudades para la salud mental, nuestra preferencia clara, siempre que sea posible, es que las decisiones se adopten por unanimidad y consenso, ya que esto refuerza la confianza, el sentido de responsabilidad y la legitimidad política de todas las ciudades participantes. Los próximos 2 años estarán dedicados a sentar las bases de esa red, construir confianza, establecer métodos de trabajo, definir prioridades compartidas y desarrollar cooperación concreta con financiamiento. Y esto requiere tiempo, compromiso y una verdadera voluntad de trabajo colectiva en beneficio de todas las ciudades. Con este marco y pretendiendo de la disponibilidad expresada por Braga, quisiera ahora abrir el turno y preguntar, ¿hay otra ciudad presente hoy que también está dispuesta a dar un paso al frente y asumir esta responsabilidad como parte del Secretariado Ejecutivo durante el primer mandato? Sí, su ciudad está disponible. Por favor, levante la mano. We already have one raised hand, it's Athens, and tenemos allá una mano levantada que Atenas, que voy después de 5 minutos por una presentación de Atenas y de Braga. Pilar Torres, que ha pedido para denominar los nombres. Murcia. Es Murcia. Ok. Tenemos 3 ciudades. We have 3 cities. I'm going to pass over the word for 5 minutes presentation, okay? 3 ciudades que voy a disponibilizar 5 minutos para una presentación. Podemos comenzar con Atenas, después Braga y después Murcia.
Shall I begin?
Yeah.
Okay. Hello, dear colleagues again. I wasn't very sure whether we should do that in writing or orally, but since we are all here now, I would like to formally express the interest of the City of Athens for taking up responsibility regarding the continuation and good works of our network for mental health. We are a city that has tried hard to establish mental health programs and projects for its population. We're making a fresh start since for many years, as I have mentioned before, things were really difficult in Athens because there were no programs, there was no real help regarding addressed to people of all ages. This has changed. We are a group of people from different backgrounds that have formed a coalition in order to help from little children to people of a more mature age in every step of their lives. And we think that we are ready to share this work with other cities in Europe. We are committed to hard work, and I think we also can communicate our scopes and aims to a broader public so that mental health can really be shared, the ideas of it and the projects of it, and more people can take good care of our work. Thank you.
Thank you, Despoina. Braga. You're on mute, Miguel.
So, hello everyone again. So, Braga is a district capital located in northern of Portugal with over 200 inhabitants. Mental health is one of the areas of greatest municipal intervention in the health sector, with daily work with children and young people in the school context. This is a recent response start this year, so with lots of children and youths coming into us in our technical supporters in the municipality. We also direct responses to the most vulnerable population in the municipality of Braga in an attempt to promote equal access to health in all classes. We are currently preparing an analysis of the municipality's mental health through a study linked to a university of Porto or Braga. So we are starting to try to know the analysis of our city. We are sure that mental health is one of the areas that almost the cities work in their cities, in their locals. So, and we are trying to make the best of us to give appropriate mental health and well-being to all of the people of this municipality. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Braga. Gracias. Que ahora queremos Pilar, Murcia.
Sí, buenas tardes. Nosotros tenemos ahora mismo una estrategia de salud mental municipal que estamos trabajando además de forma transversal con los diferentes servicios del Ayuntamiento de Murcia y hemos apostado por promover estas políticas basadas desde luego en la evidencia científica, impulsando proyectos con un enfoque comunitario, buscando la equidad social. Estamos en diferentes grupos de trabajo además con el gobierno regional en el abordaje de personas sin hogar con patología dual, precisamente con problemas de salud mental. Y tenemos a su vez un segundo plan de infancia puesto en marcha, que además acabamos de obtener el reconocimiento de Ciudad Amiga de la Infancia por UNICEF, en el que estamos abordando en todo el ciclo vital de la vida y todas las etapas los problemas de salud mental, desde los más jóvenes hasta los mayores, que también tenemos identificado una red de mayores de 80 años con muchos problemas de salud mental y que viven solos, con una estrategia además de abordaje a la soledad no deseada. En ese sentido, la estrategia puesta en marcha, estamos trabajando de la mano de más de 38 entidades que se han sumado en un proceso participativo para la elaboración del mismo. Y bueno, yo creo que lo que queremos aportar es sobre todo también abrir la línea de prevención del suicidio. Estamos trabajando muchísimo con las entidades y con acciones concretas para sensibilizar estas líneas de atención. Y bueno, y seguir avanzando para que realmente coincida nuestra estrategia municipal con las directrices de la Estrategia de Salud Europea para poder pues fijar las bases de nuestro trabajo.
Muchas gracias, Pilar. Entonces, we have more than 2 cities for the remaining seats. Is there anyone else that would like to speak now or raise your hand? No. So, as I told in the beginning, this is the first.
Excuse me. Excuse me. I can find the hand for. I will say something about the election because I think that it will be more interesting that in the three cities were from three different countries because sometimes the competence are different in some different countries, and I think that will be more rich. I don't have any problem with Braga. I am grateful that there a candidature, but I think that it will be more interesting maybe if the three cities are from different countries. Lo digo en español simplemente que creo que puede ser más interesante que sean tres países diferentes las ciudades para que pueda haber más representación de los diferentes repartos de competencias y todas esas cosas. Simplemente quería aportar eso. Gracias.
Gracias, Yolanda de Zaragoza. So here's the thing, like I told you in the beginning, we would like for the first secretariat to be a consensus and unite us all. So we have more 3 cities for 2 seats, and we can do 2 ways, in my perspective. We can have an election and transparent vote, and each city will vote one candidate city only, and we can do it in another way. It's the first secretariat, and we can have you all, and we can have 4 cities in the secretariat. It's the first one. It's the capacity building, if you want. En español, nos podemos hacer de 2 maneras. Una es siguiendo los estatutos, siguiendo los documentos, que iremos a hacer una votación que está ahí planeada, ¿ok? que es permitir que apenas un solo voto por cidade para votar en 3 cidades para 2 vacaturas, 2 plazas restantes. Ou podemos, porque es la primera secretariado executivo, nun carácter excepcional, porque queremos manternos todos unidos, que todos que se disponibilizaron possam entrar los 4 en 4 plazas en secretariado. E que vou colocar isto a votación. Ok? Isto non estaba programado. This was not programmed. So I will propose for a vote. Vanessa's vote for 4 places. Okay. I will ask for everyone to be in the record to put on the chat if you want a vote for 2 or for 4 positions. And if it's for 4 positions, we already have the election for consensus. En español, que esto no estaba programado, mas que voy a pedir que coloquen en chat si, como es la primera secretariado ejecutivo, si aceptamos los 4, pero nos mantenemos todos unidos, que se mantenga esa disponibilidad y que pongan en chat si pasamos, se aprobó una secretariado ejecutivo inicial de 4 o si pasamos una votación para 2 vacaturas de las 3 ciudades propuestas, Braga, Mieres, Murcia en Braga. Atenas.
Já votou em 4.
Pronto.
Zaragoza vota em 4.
Concerto.
Vila vota em 4. Mieres vota em 4. Mieres 4.
Barcelona
Barcelona
vota em
4. Avilés 4.
4.
Barcelos vota em 4. Múrcia 4. Braga vota em 4.
Braga 4.
Sevilha 4.
Sevilla 4.
Técnico de Mieres já está. Falta-me Ceuta e Saragossa. Como é que se chama? Ceuta vota em 4.
Ceuta vota em 4.
E Saragossa, quem é que?
Zaragoza que propôs los 3 países, por exemplo, que vota em
Zaragoza
4.
votou em 4. Toda a gente concorda que se põe em 4.
Okay. Good decision in my perspective. All of you already voted and all of you are in agreement that 4 cities are elected. Que vimos Sevilla festejando. Yeah. So, parabéns. Congratulations to all of you. Okay, and for the 3 remaining cities that will now put the secretariat with 4 positions. The first secretariat for history recording will be with 4 cities, 3 countries. Very good, very nice. So, following the election of the first executive secretariat, I would like now to address 2 items of today's agenda: new cities and the advisory committee, and the planning of subsequent steps, including preparation for 2026. Given the importance of these matters and their long-term implications for the network, I propose a clear structure and sequential approach, fully aligned with good institutional practice. Rather than taking detailed or fragmented decisions today, both items will be taken forward by the newly elected Executive Secretariat, which will be responsible for defining and proposing a single coherent procedure to be presented to all cities at the forthcoming General Assembly. Concretely, the Executive Secretariat will be invited to work on 2 strands. First, planning for 2026. This will include preparation of 2026 roadmap covering a structured process to collect thematic priorities from all cities, a light needs assessment, the identification of good practices and priority projects, and the consolidation of these elements into what will become the first annual activity plan and indicative budget of the network. Also deciding the first physical General Assembly, and I think, if I record, Athens already talked about in the first meeting. Yes, that's going on. This work
Yes,
will be
that is very
based.
correct.
We already have one participation to discuss. This work, but we are open to all. This work will be based primarily on written inputs of all cities and is expected to be developed by the first quarter of 2026. Before being brought to a General Assembly for discussion and adoption. And second, new cities and the Advisory Committee. The Executive Secretariat will also define and present a proposed procedure covering the receipt of expressions of interest, technical assessment against agreed criteria, the preparation of a written proposal by the Secretariat, and the validation of the General Assembly. With regard to the Advisory Committee, today we are not appointing members. Instead, we are opening a written indication phase. Cities are invited to submit by January 5th written proposals of entities of individuals for the Advisory Committee. These submissions will be analyzed by the Executive Secretariat at its first meeting, which will also be responsible for defining procedure, rules, and functioning and criteria of the Advisory Committee. Only after this work is completed will the Executive Secretariat propose the date and format for the first meeting and the formal installation of the Advisory Committee. From an operational perspective, I confirm that expressions of interest from new cities and proposals from Advisory Committee should be sent by email to european.network.cmbarcelos.pt by January 5, in line with the guidance already shared. We will put this by email, okay, to facilitate the process for everyone. And for the record, I will also like to note that we have formally registered indication made by the city of Seville regarding two entities of relevance to the network. On 9th December, the city of Seville communicated the availability of the Universidad Pablo de Olavide, thereby strengthening the academic and scientific dimension of the network. In addition, the city of Seville indicated ASAINES, Mental Health Seville, as a key civil society actor and submitted proposals for its integration into the Advisory Committee. I would like to clarify that today's meeting is convened among the founding cities of the network, and therefore these entities were not expected to present at this session. Their indications have duly recorded and will be clearly accepted as and examined at the very first meeting of the Executive Secretariat, in line with the procedures that we put in place. To conclude, I will also like to open a short round of interventions, up to 5 minutes in total, for any city wishing to share brief reflections or suggestions related to planning for 2026 and expectations regarding new cities and the Advisory Committee. Our contributions will be noted and taken into account in the first meeting of the Executive Secretariat. And now in Spanish. Gracias. Tras la elección del primer secretariado ejecutivo, quiero abordar ahora unos puntos del orden del día. Universidades y el comité consultivo en la planificación de los próximos pasos, incluida la preparación para 2026. Dada la relevancia de estos asuntos y su impacto a medio y largo plazo a la red, propongo un enfoque claro, estructurado y secuencial plenamente alineado con las buenas prácticas institucionales. En lugar de adoptar decisiones detalladas o fragmentadas hoy, ambos puntos serán desarrollados por los secretariados ejecutivos recién elegidos. que será responsable de definir y proponer un procedimiento único y coherente a presentar a todas las ciudades en futura Asamblea General. En concreto, se invitará al Secretariado Ejecutivo a trabajar en dos líneas. En primer lugar, la planificación para 2026. Esto incluirá la elaboración de una ruta para 2026 que abarque un proceso estructurado para recoger las prioridades temáticas de todas las ciudades, una evaluación ligera de necesidades, la identificación de buenas prácticas y proyectos prioritarios, la consolidación de estos elementos en lo que será el primero plano anual de actividades y presupuesto indicativo de la red. Este trabajo se baseará principalmente en aportaciones escritas de todas las ciudades y se desarrollará durante el primer trimestre de 2026, antes de someterse a debate y adopción en una Asamblea General. En segundo lugar, novedades del Comité Consultivo. El Secretariado Ejecutivo definirá y presentará un procedimiento propuesto que cubra la recepción de manifestaciones de interés, la evaluación técnica conforme los criterios acordados, la elaboración de una propuesta escrita por parte del Secretariado y la validación por la Asamblea General. En relación con este comité consultivo, hoy no se nombrarán miembros en su lugar, se abre una fase de indicaciones por escrito. Las ciudades podrán enviar hasta el 5 de enero propuestas de entidades o propuestas para el comité consultivo. Estas aportaciones serán analizadas por el Secretariado Ejecutivo en su primera reunión, que será también responsable de definir el procedimiento, las normas de funcionamiento y los criterios del comité consultivo. Solo una vez completado este trabajo, el Secretariado Ejecutivo pondrá a la fecha y el formato de la primera reunión y de la instalación formal del comité consultivo. Desde el punto de vista operativo, confirmo que las manifestaciones de interés de universidades y las propuestas para el comité consultivo deberán enviarse por correo electrónico a European Network cm@barcelos.pt hasta el 5 de enero, conforme las orientaciones ya compartidas, mas lo enviaremos por correo electrónico para facilitar el proceso de todas las partes. A efectos de acta, dejo señalar que hemos registrado formalmente la indicación realizada por la ciudad de Sevilla, realizada a dos entidades de relevancia para la red. En 9 de diciembre, la ciudad de Sevilla comunicó la disponibilidad de la Universidad Pablo de la Vide, reforzando así la dimensión académica y científica de la red. Gracias. Asimismo, en la ciudad de Sevilla indicó a CNS Salud Mental Sevilla como un actor clave de la sociedad civil y presentó propuestas para su integración en el comité consultivo. Quisiera aclarar de la reunión que hoy se celebra entre las ciudades fundadoras de la red, por lo que se esperaba la presencia de estas entidades en esta sesión, en sus indicaciones han quedado debidamente registradas y serán claramente aceptadas y analizadas en la primera reunión del Secretariado Ejecutivo conforme a los procedimientos que se establecerán. Para concluir, abro ahora una breve ronda de intervenciones de hasta 5 minutos en total para aquellas ciudades que deseen compartir comentarios o sugerencias relacionadas con la planificación para 2026 o las expectativas en respecto a novedades y al comité consultivo. Todas las aportaciones serán recogidas y tenidas en cuenta en la primera reunión del Secretariado Ejecutivo. 5 minutos. Raise your hand if you want to speak, to make any contribution. Levanten la mano si quieren dar algún contributo para estos dos puntos. Zaragoza, Yolanda, por favor.
Hola, yo quería contar que justamente ayer hicimos un acto público de explicación a la ciudadanía zaragozana de la inclusión del ayuntamiento en esta red. Lo organizamos con la Federación de Salud Mental de Aragón y bueno, pues voy a intentar mandar por el chat un enlace de lo que salió en la página web del ayuntamiento. Todo el mundo preguntaba qué era la red y bueno, vinieron todas las entidades más importantes relacionadas con la salud mental en la ciudad y muchas autoridades y fue un acto muy agradable. Hicimos una mesa sobre el tema del suicidio, que es el que elegimos, y unas actuaciones y también presentamos algunas actividades que nos hemos propuesto con las entidades de la ciudad para poder hacer a lo largo de este año, sobre todo temas de sensibilización. Una de ellas es hacer una especie de fin de semana dedicado a sensibilizar sobre la salud mental en uno de los espacios de la ciudad y donde puedan estar representados diferentes servicios y entidades que trabajan con este tema. Puedo enviar un poco pues esas primeras ideas al comité, ¿no? Para que puedan tenerse en cuenta como ideas para otras cosas. Gracias.
Muchas gracias, Yolanda. Por supuesto que serán tenidas en cuenta. No que dice respecto al suicidio, también tenemos un buen proyecto nacional de implementación local en la capital, Más Contigo, que es probablemente uno de los proyectos que podemos compartir con ustedes. So, anyone else want to make a contribution for the first action plan? ¿Más alguien? I think no. Okay. And before we end this meeting, we have the other issues point. And to support our 2026 work, we will now hear a short technical contribution from Barcelo's team on European funding. I think this is an important point for everyone, the funding. So European funding opportunities and possible consortium pathways. And we have Dr. Paulo Faria, and you have the floor for 10 minutes. And para apoyar el trabajo de 2026, escucharemos ahora una contribución técnica del equipo de Barcelos sobre oportunidades de financiamiento europea y posibles vías de consorcios. Dr. Paulo Faria tiene la palabra por 10 minutos. Muchas gracias.
Thank you, Miguel. Can you hear me, please? Do you hear me?
Yes.
Okay. Miguel, please call me Paulo Faria. Otherwise, everyone will call me doctor, and that's not my preference. Okay. The sharing preferences are disabled. So if you enable my sharing.
Oh, Paulo, não te aparece nada para tu pedires autorização?
Sim, aparece, mas diz aqui que o host, portanto vocês, desativaram o screen sharing, a partilha pelos participantes.
Vais compartilhar, carregar ali isso. Aí. Agora. Compartilhar. Queres compartilhar? Não posso compartilhar. Compartilhar som, utilizo compartilhamento. Compartilhar.
Ora, tenta agora, Paulo, por favor.
Ok. Perfect.
Sorry.
Okay. So, good afternoon, everyone. And thank you for the invitation and for the opportunity to contribute to the European Cities Network for Mental Health. Today, just a minute, just to review this presentation mode. Okay. Okay. Can you see the presentation? Yes?
Yes, we can.
Okay. So I will present a short overview of European funding opportunities for projects on mental health, with a specific focus on cities, municipalities, and civil society stakeholders. The aim is to provide a strategic reading of where funding opportunities exist and how local actors can position themselves to access them. I will be brief for the sake of your mental health, so don't worry, especially the Spanish members, which I think are not used to work on a Friday afternoon. Okay, so let's start it. I prepared just a simple presentation, and in the end, we can share it with all cities to guide you and to share with your funding offices. I'm going to talk especially about 4 EU programs: U4Health, SERVE, Erasmus, and Horizon Europe. The main direct or indirect management programs for the European Union, especially the European Union Commission or its executive agencies. Finally, I'll talk about some other funding opportunities you can explore with your funding offices, especially at the national level. And to finalize, just a small call to action for the network. Just as an introduction, let me just present myself. I'm Paulo Faria, as Miguel said. I'm a permanent consulting for the municipality of Barcelos, specialized in European Union fundings, change management, and strategic management for the public sector. Introducing the topic today, as you all know, local authorities and civil society organizations are at the front line of prevention, early intervention, and community-based mental health support. However, this growing political attention at European Union level, financing mental health initiatives remains complex and fragmented, particularly for cities and NGOs. As a tagline, I would say that it will require a very demanding and creative combination of European funding instruments, and we all will have to be really creative to get funding for our projects on the field of mental health. Starting with the U4Health program, it is the largest health program ever launched by the EU, with an initial budget of 5.3 billion, later revised to 4.5 billion. It is the only program dedicated to health, especially dedicated to health in the European Union. It is delivered through annual programs managed by the European Commission and the Agency for the Health and Digital. Actions are organized around 4 strands: crisis preparedness, health promotion and disease prevention, and this is the strand which is more interesting for our kind of projects: health systems and healthcare workforce, and digital health. Health promotion activities include a cross-cutting mental health focus on every strand. These programs this program works with annual programs, but the 2026 work program is still under preparation, so we don't have a detailed path for the forthcoming calls. I can highlight a present open call. It is just a small call which would enable us to make an application for an international conference. They will support only 3 international conferences. The deadline is 6 January 26, so I don't think we have much time, but it's something we can discuss internally. Since we don't have the 2026 work program already rolled out, I would highlight some key past calls on mental health, calls specifically dedicated on mental health. I highlighted some of them. In total, more than 40 millions delivered through these calls. A call on implementing best practices, a call on psychological support to refugees and displaced people, particularly from Ukraine, another for prevention of non-communicable diseases through mental health, prevention of dementia and other neurological disorders, a call on integration of mental health care into cancer treatment, another call on creation of an evidence-based European code for mental health, and another in the last call to implement best practices and train professionals to address COVID-19 related mental health challenges. So, although we have a program of about 4.4 million, and coming back to this slide, the fact is that the financing of or the funding of the type of projects a city would promote is just a short amount of this 4.4 billion total available fund. The gross amount of the funding available is to be distributed to
especially to joint actions with the member states and at a higher level. Another program that might be interesting for the network, although it doesn't target directly mental health or health in general, is the Citizens Equality, Rights and Values Program. It is the largest EU funding instrument to protect and promote unions' values and fundamental rights. It has an exceeding budget of 1.5 billion for the multi-annual framework of 2021-27. It supports civil society organizations, public authorities and networks at the local, regional, national and transnational level. And it is focused on promoting and protect values and rights. It is organized in 4 strands: union values, equality, rights and gender equality, citizens engagement and participation, and in anti-violence or Daphne strand. The relevance on mental health. Projects may address psychological support for victims of violence, promote inclusion of people with mental health conditions, and fight stigma. This is a kind of program that would require a bit of creativity so that we can fund our projects, since it is not addressed specifically on mental health and on health in general. Some opportunities from the 26-27 multi-annual work program, 23 million to gender equality, projects tackling gender stereotypes and supporting victims of violence, national Roma contact points, 1.5 million, data protection,
network of towns, citizens engagement, town cleaning, remembrance, Daphne, 21 million. This might be one of the most interesting for the network. And successful proposals should build consortia of municipalities, NGOs, and social services aligned with serve objectives and emphasize inclusion, rights, and cross-sector cooperation. So the involvement of the civil organizations is also very important, even if only as associated entities to the projects. Another and well-known project or program that might find some of our projects is Erasmus Plus, is one of the largest programs of the European Union funding framework. It is specially suited for mobility, but the strand that might interest more in the network is the second strand, cooperation among organizations and institutions, especially partnerships for cooperation, small-scale partnerships, or capacity building and innovation actions. These are types of actions that can put us collaborating, and the mental health condition and issues may be a priority across all these programs. The 2026 call is already open, so this is a working paper where we must dedicate a lot of attention. We will share later the details, but as I told you, especially the cooperation partnerships, which can finance projects around 120 to 4,000 euros, 4,100 euros. Small-scale partnerships for smaller programs, and capacity building in the field of youth, and also some projects in the fields of sport can address these issues of mental health. So this is one of the most important calls to be aware of right now. Going through to another program, Horizon Europe. This is a program which is especially dedicated or exclusive to research and innovation projects. So not the typical projects any municipality or city would lead, but as a city you can associate to a consortium or more than one consortia, and be part of a research and innovation project, especially piloting and demonstrating actions in your territories. There are two clusters in the Pillar 2 that are particularly interesting for us. The health cluster, which addresses especially the topic of health and mental health, is primarily supported under this pillar and under this cluster. And also under the Pillar 2, the cluster culture, creativity, and inclusive society mobilizes social sciences and humanities expertise to strengthen democracy and fundamental rights, safeguard cultural heritage, and steer social and economic transformations towards inclusion and growth, where we can address also some projects and some topics on mental health. So, though not a health-specific cluster, several topics recognize the role of culture and social environments in mental health outcomes. So, for instance, the 2025 work program identifies mental health as a priority in social and economic transformations, acknowledging that technological, climate, and demographic change affect mental well-being and calling for evidence for informed, inclusive policy responses. So we might be creating with universities and R&D institutions projects that through, for example, pilots in your territories and demonstrative pilots, we can make some conclusions and inform policy action, public policy actions. There are already some forthcoming opportunities that might be interesting for our topic of mental health. For instance, in the first call I highlight here, innovative interventions to prevent the harmful effects of using digital technologies on the mental health of children and young adults, boosting the mental health of young cancer survivors through the European Cancer Patient Digital Center, culture, heritage, and creative industries for health and well-being, and hopefully for wealth. And finally, the impact of use of digital tools outside school and for communication on educational outcomes and mental health. These are only some of the forthcoming opportunities that might interest to our network and that I'm highlighting here. Okay, just not to go beyond 10 minutes. There are, of course, other funding sources. I invite you to talk to your funding offices, especially regarding the Interrail projects. These are projects that can be cross-border, interregional. This means throughout the whole European Union, outermost regions, and transnational for some group of countries, special related with yours. Not as a program, but some initiatives of the European Union Commission might finance our initiatives and our projects on mental health. So since this is a priority topic for the European Union, there might be some isolated or episodic initiatives launched by the European Commission. So we must be aware of this and always being screening these opportunities. There are also, as you know, at national level, especially the regional and thematic programs that might finance your projects. A particular program that might be interesting is the EEA grants contracted with some countries of the European Union and with Norway, Finland, and Liechtenstein. And finally, I would say that in every country there are civil society donors that can fund the kind of projects we are trying to build. So talk to your funding office and talk to us if you need some assistance. I'm sure we can help you. Just a final call to action. So since we are permanent consultants of the municipality of Barcelos, and we are available to help the development of this network, we are going to be continuous screening the EU funding opportunities for you and sharing relevant calls with the network. You can pass my direct contact to your community funding offices. Just as an advice, in some cases, for some opportunities, or I would say for most of all of them, we cannot apply with all cities as a consortium because it will be too large consortium. So we might find that in some cases, some of us might create a small consortium of 2-3 cities or a bit more, for instance, in the Horizon Europe with R&D institutions. But our creativity will demand this kind of flexibility to build consortiums in groups of 3, 4, 5 municipalities. And a final special advice: in these calls, in these applications, please mobilize your local partners to reinforce your projects. I hope we all be successful, and thank you for your attention. Here are my contacts, but later I will ask Miguel and Barcelos to share the presentation, or maybe a revised version of the presentation with you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Paul, for this high valuable and well integrated. These will be integrated in January planning cycle or in the first meeting for the executive secretariat. And we will, of course, share this with all the cities. Okay. Muchas gracias, Paulo, por esta presentación muy valiosa que ciertamente integrará el ciclo de planificación de enero, la primera reunión del secretariado ejecutivo, y que vamos a compartir con todas las ciudades, ciertamente. And following today's meeting, I have one thing to say to the three cities that now share with us the Secretariat Executive: Athens, Murcia, and Braga. We propose 16th of January at 10:30 set for this meeting, for the first meeting of the Executive Secretariat. And the coordination team will follow for our work as proposed, as I said before. Is that okay? Que proponemos 16 de janeiro às 10:30 Central Eastern Time for this meeting, para esta primera reunión del secretariado ejecutivo, para trabajarnos naquilo que já proponemos para 2016. Está ok, Pilar? Después Athens.
You mean in the morning, right?
Yes, 10:30 set a.m.
Can we make it in an afternoon, maybe? Because there's a lot of work in the morning.
Dia 16.
1 minute.
Only 1 minute?
Okay.
And I will ask Pilar and I will ask Miguel
Okay,
to
thank
see
you.
the
Yes.
schedule too. And I will remind that in 20 January, we will have the General Assembly for us to catch up. At what hour in the 16 después?
15:37.
15:30, 3:30 set p.m.
Yeah, and any time after 1 o'clock at noon.
15:37, está marcado.
And for Braga and for Murcia. Is that okay? ¿Está todo bien, Pilar?
Sí, es perfecto también a la 1. Gracias.
Okay.
Thank you, thank you.
Miguel, tudo ok?
Tudo ok.
16? Ok. 16 de janeiro, 15:30. 16 January, 3:30 p.m. set Central Eastern Time. 16 de janeiro, at 13:30.
Thank you for the change.
No problem. So, me resta encerrar. Antes de cerrar, before we close, I will ask if there are any final remarks. Please raise your hand, and I will take up to 1 minute in total. Antes de cerrar, ¿algún comentario final? Por favor, levanten la mano. Tomaremos hasta 1 minuto en total. Sevilla, thank you very much for welcoming. Okay.
Mira, vou marcar esta hora.
Thank you for Sevilla. Okay.
10:30, 7.
So, no one? And before closing, I am just going to remember 3 dates. Till 5th of January, cities can propose entities for the advisory committee by written. You will receive this by email. In 20th of January, we are going to schedule the General Assembly to catch up the first work from the Secretariat Executive. 16th of January, we will have the first Executive Secretariat online meeting. Ok, en español. Apenas para recordar 3 datas importantes. Hasta el 5 de enero, que podéis someter por correo electrónico entidades, propuestas de entidades por escrito, que van a recibir esto por correo, más por escrito para lo comité consultivo. En 20 de enero queremos tener la próxima Asamblea General, reunión general, para acompañar los desenvolvimientos después de la primera reunión del Secretariado Ejecutivo. En 16 de enero, que tenemos la primera reunión online del Secretariado Ejecutivo, y que hasta allá queremos trabajar por escrito, por email, ¿ok? Y por sugestiones. And therefore, and handing the floor back to the counselor for the closing remarks, I would like to recall that the minutes of today's meeting will be circulated together with a follow-up email inviting cities to submit the proposals. And allow me also to take this opportunity to wish you all and your loved ones warm seasons, greetings, and a peaceful festive mode. Antes de cerrar y antes de ceder la palabra al señor concejal Felipe Piñero, para las palabras de clausura, quisiera recordar que se enviará la acta de la reunión de hoy, junto con un correo de seguimiento para la presentación de propuestas de entidades para el comité consultivo. En aprovecho también para desearles a todas y a todos ustedes y a sus seres queridos unas muy felices fiestas y un periodo festivo en paz. Muchas gracias una vez más y cedo ahora la palabra final al señor concejal para las palabras de cierre.
Muy bien. Very well. Thank you, Dr. Miguel. Today we have taken important steps. We confirmed legitimacy representation elected and the executive secretary, and agreed on the clear procedures for expansion and advisory nomination. Barcelos remains firmly committed to supporting this network with professionalism, transparency, and human rights, and evidence-based approach. We look forward to meeting again on 20 January and to turning our shared commitment into concrete results for our communities. Hoy habemos dado pasos importantes, confirmamos representación legítima, elegimos un secretariado ejecutivo y acordamos procedimientos claros para la expansión y las nominaciones consultivas. Barcelos mantiene un firme compromiso con apoyar esta red con profesionalidad, transparencia y un enfoque baseado en derechos humanos y evidencia científica. Esperamos reencontrarnos a 20 de enero y convertir este compromiso compartido en resultados concretos para nuestras comunidades. Muchas gracias por todos. Thank you for all. And to finish, I wish a very Merry Christmas for all and a Happy New Year. Gracias. Feliz Navidad y un excelente año nuevo. Muy bom Natal e feliz ano novo. para o Miguel, logicamente. Temos que encerrar em
Muito
português,
obrigado.
Miguel, porque é o único
Verdade,
em português
muito-
que teria que ser encerrado, não é? Miguel tem ouvido em castelhano e em inglês, por isso,
É verdade, temos que trazer mais,
Miguel para todos vocês em Braga.
temos que trazer mais cidades portuguesas para a rede.
Está bem? Feliz
Tá, boas
Navidad.
festas.
Bye, everyone.
Adiós.
Bye, bye,
Feliz
bye.
Navidad.
Christmas.
Feliz Navidad.
Feliz
Muchísimas
Navidad.
gracias.